forget. So makes for not a whole lot of reporting.
And clearly there's no surveillance cameras inside the house that, well, they were having consensual sex, and then you could argue that it was...
In 2 miles, keep right onto I-294 south toward I-88.
There's another subsection in Ohio under the murder statute that if you're essentially committing a felony and the person dies, as long as it's the proximate cause, you could be found guilty of murder. And so I say that because it's almost an easier way to prove murder, and they didn't charge him under that subsection. So really interesting, again, that they just charged him with purposely caused the death. And to your point, there's not going to be any surveillance.
And for then it to be, apparently, again, they were having sex and then something happened and she winds up dead. But just in your experience, for it to take so long to figure out how somebody died.
Well, it seems really, it makes it a tribal case, doesn't it? Like, how do they do an autopsy? It's inconclusive. Of course, we know from an autopsy, they're looking at things like, is force, cause of death, any type of trauma that would include.
Use the right lane to keep right onto I-294 south toward I-88.
They said it's inconclusive, and then it seems as if, based on the reporting and the media that I've seen, there's no DNA, there's no forensics, they just have his statement. And again, I think that will be interesting how that cultural piece, when they questioned him, if there was an interpreter there, etc., like how that statement,
keep right.
Suppress that statement, and then what will remain without it if they can't get it suppressed.
In 1.5 miles, take the exit to merge onto Ronald Reagan Memorial Tollway.
The idea of like Miranda rights and what to say, what not to say, that's something that they really don't know. Does the law in any way look at a community like this? And there are similar communities, I think, just very insulated communities of people that are not part of
Millennium Park, but it's like a
It's like a
woods.
little. It's like a little.
It's like a woods.
It's like a kid's. Yo, it's not getting any better. She thought she could sneak one. How did I know? It's almost like a bomb. It's like boom, instant. No, it's not. You said it's out now. No, it's not. I still smell it. No, I'm not. See, now you're gaslighting me. I know the difference between Dookie and a burger, okay? Trying to gaslight me.
And then I assume also they're going to be looking at that suppression issue first and foremost and see if there's any way to suppress that statement. And if the statement is potentially, suppressed, then is there a corpus delicta issue? Is there any other evidence that the state has?
Yeah, because that's
And if
their
not,
passion.
then the case would obviously have to be dismissed.
It was. Okay? You don't know either because you weren't there. Oh my gosh.
Wait.
That's what I'm saying. I heard it. You guys were somewhere else, and I was in the car, and I was like, if she
How
did,
about like tissue and then put a little
look.
bit of water in the
Yeah.
tissue?
she don't.
Like, like pour a little bit.
Yeah, this thing goes. It's like a slingshot. It's like. Have you heard of the Dean's List?
Twisted story that proves quite difficult for authorities
That's
to crack.
Yeah, because like she was just part of like this thing in Atlanta, and then she was like got like a spot.
He denied everything, said he didn't know anything. They lamented the fact that his niece was missing.
That's what I think. I think
But
they
I
live
know, I think
in a completely another city.
After 16
Like, yeah, you said you see the weather lady, but
yeah, no.
but I think they like a lot of them. They don't with the weather people. I think that's what they do.
They press him about the diary his niece wrote that indicates that you had sexual relations. He denies any inappropriate contact and has even provided his DNA to police.
You guys took my DNA. I don't have anything to hide.
Thought he got away with it. That's what it is.
I don't know how to do it.
And he said he didn't believe it at first. That's right. But it was so detailed.
I'm sorry.
with men and women around the world who want to dive deeper into their intimacy and to their relationships and to their sex life. A lot of times there's a lot of trauma there.